Okay, today I'm going to teach you a poem that's going to help us with our subtraction with regrouping. So whenever we have a 2-digit minus 2-digit or even 2-digit minus 1-digit problem, we always have to start in the ones place. And you can see that I've got my ones places kind of in a black square there because that's where we always have to start, is in the ones, just like we did when we were doing our addition. Now, when we get to the ones, we have to ask ourselves a couple of questions. We're going to ask ourselves, is there more on the top or more on the floor? Every single time you come across a subtraction problem, that's what I want you to ask yourself. More on the top or more on the floor? That's what you should ask yourself every time, because the answer to that question is going to tell you what you're going to do next. So if you are doing a subtraction problem, you look in the ones and you have more on the top, like this problem. 6 is bigger than 2, right? So this would be a more on the top situation. When there's more on the top, there's no need to stop. Say that with me. More on the top, no need to stop. Do it with me. More on the top, no need to stop. Now, the other option is that there might be more on the floor, like in this case. 7 is bigger than 4. And if I have 4, I can't take away 7. I don't have enough, right? If I have 4 apples on the table, I can't take away 7 because there aren't 7. So I've got to regroup. Now, the good news is I've got 10s next door, right? So I can take one of those 10s, so I have 6 10s, right? 64 has 6 10s. I'm going to take one of those, which means I'll have 5 10s left, and I'm going to break it apart so that it becomes 10 ones, okay? And then I can add it to the 4 I already have, and I get 14. 10 plus 4 is 14. And now I have more on the top and I can subtract. So, more on the top, no need to stop. More on the floor, we have to go next door and regroup 10 more. So remember when we were adding, we said if there's 10 or more, we had to make a new 10, right? If there's 10 or more ones, we have to make a new 10. Well, in subtraction, it's the opposite. We're going to take a 10 and we're going to break it into 10 ones, okay? So, more on the top, no need to stop. More on the floor, we're going to go next door to the 10s place, go next door and regroup 10 more. Regroup 10 more, right? We're going to take a 10 and regroup it into 10 ones. So those are 2 of the options. The third option is when there's not more on the top and there's not more on the floor because the numbers are the same. So that's our third option. Numbers are the same, 0 is the gain. Now we know this because whenever we have a number and we take away that same number, we're going to end up with 0, right? If you have 8 apples and you take 8 apples, there's no apples left, right? So that's going to be 0. So we've got 3 different choices. More on the top, no need to stop. More on the floor, go next door and regroup 10 more. Numbers are the same, 0 is the gain. All right, will you do it with me? So, more on the top, no need to stop. More on the floor, go next door and regroup 10 more. Numbers are the same, 0 is the gain. Awesome, so that's what you're going to remember as you're working through your regrouping with subtraction problems today. Today we're going to be regrouping a 10 as ones. Now that should sound familiar because in chapter 3 we regrouped ones into a 10. So today, because we're looking at subtraction, we're actually going to look at the opposite of that and taking a 10 and breaking it down into ones. Our central question for this chapter is, how can I subtract 2-digit numbers? And here's our problem of the day. How does 8 minus 6 help you find 80 minus 60? So when we have a problem like this, we can look at our 10s and just subtract those because we already know that 0 minus 0 is going to be 0. So really this problem is more like 8 minus 6, which is 2. And then 0 minus 0 is 0, so you can easily find the answer. Okay, now this part has been a little bit tricky, so really lock in right now and try to pay attention. We're going to take apart a number to make a 10 and then subtract. So we can take apart 21 into tens and ones and do 20 and 1. Then we can take away just the tens, so 32 minus 20. Again, similar to that problem we just did, we've got 0 here, so 2 ones minus 0 ones is going to be 2. 3 tens minus 2 tens is 1 10. So now we're at 12. Now we started with 32, we took away 20, but we still need to take away our ones, which was 1, and then we get 11. So it just makes it easier to do, especially in your head. I know writing it out is sort of confusing, but if you can start to break those apart into tens and ones, it'll really help with your mental math. All right, let's try another one. Take apart a number to make 10 and then subtract. This time we've got 15. 15 looks like 1 10 and 5 ones, so this would be 10 and 5. 63, take away the 10 first, would be 53. And then 53 minus the ones that are left equals 48. I can count backwards. 53, 52, 51, 50, 49, 48. So how would we take apart 22 to solve 43 minus 22? So same thing that we've been doing, but how would we take that second number apart? Again, we're looking for tens and ones. There are 2 tens, which is 20, 2 ones. So let's see if we can find that answer here. And here it is down here, 20 and 2. All right, so we are going to explore how does regrouping help find the difference in subtraction. So like I mentioned at the beginning, we learned about regrouping with addition, but now we're going to look and see how we can regroup to help us with subtraction. So how could we model 10 using base 10 blocks? We could do 1 10 rod, right? Just like this. Can we show the 10 using ones blocks? Yes, we can, right? If I break this apart, let's see if it'll let me, there we go. If I break it apart, there I have 10 ones. So it's still the same thing, right? I didn't add any extra cubes in there or take any away. I just took my 10 rod and I broke it apart into 10 ones. And then I can go back the other way too, right? And take 10 ones and make them into 1 10. Okay, so let's look and see how this will help us with our subtraction. So we've got 94 minus 68. So I'm going to put 94 in here, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it says use base 10 blocks to help you subtract. So now what we need to do is we need to take away 68. Now, just like in addition, we're going to start with our ones. So I have 94, if I write these up and down, minus 68. So I have to start here in the ones place. I have 4 ones. Can I take 8 ones away if I have 4? Hold up 4 fingers. Can you take 8 away? No, you can't, right? So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take one of these 10s and we're going to break it apart. Okay, so now what we've done, if I can show you up here in our equation, is we took 1 10, so there's 8 10s left, and then we added 10 ones to the 4, which equals 14. So now we have 8 tens and 14 ones, which is the same thing as 94. We just have traded out and regrouped them a little bit. So now that I have 14, I can take away 8, right? I have enough to take away 8. So here's 4 that I'm going to take away. 1, 2, 3, 4 more to take away. So 14 minus 8, let's see how many we have left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which makes sense because 6 plus 8 equals 14. Then I need to go back to my tens. I have 8 tens left, right? Because I regrouped 1 into ones. And I need to take away 6 of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to take those away. And I end up with 2 tens, 6 ones. So 94 minus 68 equals 26. All right, so please grab your math book, and I need for you to open up to your Math in My World page on 235. You are going to need your base 10 blocks just like I was using, so you may pause the video here to go grab your materials, push play when you're ready to continue. All right, so it says Adam has 23 seashells. Use base 10 blocks to show the seashells. All right, so let's get our base 10 blocks ready. Tells us he has 23. 23 is 2 tens, that's 20, 3 ones. Now let's keep going and see what happens next. He gives 5 of his seashells away. Regroup and take away that many blocks. How many seashells are left? Okay, so we've got 23. And we need to take away 5. So again, it's going to look something like this. 23 minus 5. We're starting in the ones. I currently have 3 ones right in here. You can see them. And I need to take away 5. So again, if you have 3 apples, can you take away 5 apples? No, you can't, right? You would have to go negative. And so we need to break apart a 10, regroup a 10, so that we have enough to take away 5. So here's what I want you to do with yours. I want you to take away 1 10 rod, and I want you to replace it with 10 ones over in the ones column. So it's going to look something like this. Ooh, those spread out, didn't they? Okay. There we go. So what that looks like in my problem here is that I took 1 of these 10s, so I have 1 10 left, right? You can see that right here. And then I changed it into 10 ones. I already had 3 ones, so 10 ones plus 3 ones is 13 ones. So now I'm ready for my subtraction. So 13, and I need to take away 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm taking those away. And then 1 minus 0 is 1. Oh, I forgot to say how many we have left here. So 13 minus 5, we have 3, 6, 7, 8 left, 8 ones left. 1 minus nothing is 1. So we should end with 18. If we go back to our cubes, we have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so now it says to draw the base 10 blocks that are left in the chart. So go ahead and clear your board of your base 10 blocks, but then I want you to draw a 10 rod and 8 ones. They do not have to be perfect. It could be just like a stick in little circles. That's kind of the quickest way for me. But go ahead and draw those in, and then you may push play when you're ready to continue. Okay, so for our guided practice today, we're going to look at the steps for taking a 10 and regrouping it into 10 ones. So find 24 minus 8. So it's going to look like 24, which is what we have here, right? 2 10s and 4 ones. And we want to take away 8, but we only have 4, right? So we have what I might say is more on the floor. Oh, hold on. We have more on the floor. We have three options really when we're looking at these kinds of problems. We can have more on the top, or we can have more on the floor, or the numbers can be the same. Those are our 3 options here. Just like the last 2 we've talked about, when there's more on the floor, so more on the bottom, that's when we have to go next door and regroup 10 more. So when there's more on the floor, we have to go next door and regroup 10 more. So you can see that here. They took a 10 and then they pulled it apart to be 10 ones. So I'm going to take a 10 and then pull it apart to be 10 ones. Now 10 ones plus the 4 I already have is 14. Now I'm ready to subtract the 8 ones. So 14 minus 8 is 6. 1 minus nothing is 1. Don't forget that last part there. Bring that 10 down. All right, so let's try some more problems. We've got here 31 minus 4, and I'm actually going to draw this out because those blocks don't fit on my screen very well, but you're welcome to use your base 10 blocks. So 31, and I need to take away 4. It also would look like this. 31 minus 4. So I need to ask myself, do I have more on the top or more on the floor? Well, 4 is bigger than 1 and 4 is closer to the floor, so we would say we have more on the floor. So we need to go next door, that would be to the 3, and regroup 10 more, which would look like taking one of these 10s and making it 10 ones. Okay, so now I have 2 10s left. I added 10 ones to 1 1, which equals 11. So now I'm ready to subtract. So 11 take away 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 2 minus nothing continues to be 2. So my answer for this one is 27. Okay, so now let's try. Oh, before we move on, did we need to regroup? Yes, we did, because we had 4 and we wanted to take away, or sorry, we had 1 and we wanted to take away 4, and we couldn't do that until we regrouped that 10. So go ahead and circle on your guided practice page, page 236, yes. We did indeed need to regroup. Okay, so now let's try the next one. 27 minus 5, which would look like 27 minus 5. Okay, so again, I'm going to look, do I have more on the top or more on the floor? Which one is bigger? 7 is bigger, so we have more on the top, no need to stop. I do not need to regroup because I can take away 5, right? I have 7, but I can easily take away 5 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll have 2 ones left, and then bring down my 2 because it's 2 minus 0, and I end up with 22. I didn't have to regroup because I had more on the top. Okay, so you are going to continue practicing. Remember to ask yourself on each problem, more on the top or more on the floor, and it might help you. I know in your independent practice, it doesn't have it written up and down, but it might help you to write it up and down so that you can see if there's more on the top or more on the floor. We know that we need to regroup when there's more on the floor, right? We have to regroup when there's more on the floor because we can't take away things that we do not have. So if I have 2 ones and I want to take away 6, I can't do that. I don't have enough. So I've got to regroup and change the number of ones that I have on the top so that I can subtract the ones from the floor. So you're going to circle yes or no if you need to subtract. You may use your base 10 blocks to help you, and then you're going to find the answer. You need to do 237 and 238, and you can go ahead and put those